Hi there, and welcome to our third episode of our video series on the Intersectoral Global Action Plan, as we know as the IGAP. So once again, welcome to Marina, my co-host and project advisor on the IGAP. So it's wonderful for you to be here with me.
Always fun.
And just to remind all of you, I say it so often, I'm Sharlene Cassel, National Director of Epilepsy South Africa, and it's wonderful to be with you. And today is really an episode where we're saying, we've spoken about we're going to implement. We've spoken about we're going to monitor and evaluate as part of the two parts of the national plan that was submitted. And I believe it's important as Epilepsy South Africa to hold ourselves to that standard. And what that means, Marina, to you and for our discussion for today is to say it was ratified in the World Health Assembly in May 2022. And what has Epilepsy South Africa done? And I think we can proudly sit here and go, wow, we've had a journey of 15, 18 months nearly. So let's start with probably the largest milestone for me was that we submitted the national plan. Yes. I think that has just been a moment of absolute honor when we sat with another member of the Civil Task Force, and we sat and we went through it and we were like, we worked on the final draft to submit, and we all kind of sat there going, wow.
You know, it's always difficult when you start a new process, like putting this plan together, and you have a concept in your mind of what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit like a pregnancy because you have all these expectations, and
yeah, absolutely.
It seems to then get to a stage where it takes forever. You're not making progress on it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly here is this beautiful baby that we've now delivered.
We're going to go, ta-da!
And we want to show everybody our baby. And really that opportunity to bring it to government, it's a culmination. You know, we had certain objectives when we started this process as early as 2018.
Yeah.
And here is the first deliverable. It's a real document you can hold in your hands, you can read, and it brings together the views of so many people across the whole country. Well, internationally, because we've taken from the international side, but also right down to the local level when we spoke to people, got their views on it. So it really is a document to be proud of as an organization.
But I think Marina, I mean, we had four goals from 2019 to achieve. And if we reflect and go, okay, the very first goal was to put a national task force together with government. And that's just evolved. We've got the most magnificent civil task force now with government at the table working with us. And the second one, which I don't believe anybody thought could actually be done and be delivered, was the national plan. So those two things have been, and having the buy-in, because of Epilepsy South Africa's momentum and commitment to this project as the lead organization in South Africa on this, has, I believe, passion. People get involved with passion, right? People get involved with we're going to make a difference by doing X, Y, and Z. So, yeah, reflecting in the last year just brings us to the next level of conversation of the IGAP has now informed next steps in our implementation of what are we going to do about this?
Yeah. I think one of the first things that we need to recognize is that the IGAP and its partner, the national plan, taking from international to local level, informed the direction that Epilepsy South Africa as an organization is taking. Yeah. It's a cornerstone of the strategic plan of the organization in the next 3-4 years. Absolutely. So that's really our guiding light now. And it's wonderful when you look at it and say, you know, we started off with 4 objectives and we've achieved 2 out of the 4 already. Stunning. So it does give you a sense of accomplishment. And a big thank you to all of you out there that contributed and participated, came to the workshop, sent us information. Yeah. Thank you. This is your document as well.
It's just breathtaking.
You know, it also brings us down to the point where it's one thing to tap ourselves on the shoulder and go, we've achieved this. The question now becomes, where to from here? What are the current issues? Yeah. And I think we've identified, with the help of the Civil Task Force, 3 priorities.
Absolutely.
And the one was the submission of the national plan, which happened 30th of June this year. It's now there. So to a large extent, that first step has been taken. The next in that process is for this plan to be finalized by government in terms of their own protocols, but also then to take it to cabinet and from there to parliament.
Absolutely.
So that's the one priority. The other two priorities, and they're equally important, is the issue of awareness and education. You know, in every single consultative workshop, that came through as the biggest issue people wanted to address. You know, a lot of people that's been watching our series have said, you know, I was surprised that people are so shy about talking about it.
Yes.
And it surprised me, but that's the reality people face. So the need for awareness and education is a clear priority for us.
Absolutely. And I know on the road show in February and March, and with DWIPD, they came on the road show with us. The chief director joined us herself, Puti Madabele, and it was just wonderful to be doing it with her. She deployed members of her department to join us. And what was, I think, so special when we reflected on it, and we did the reports and we collated all the information, was the aha moments in the workshops from everybody being there. And I mean, we had not only people with epilepsy and people with other neurological disorders, we had carers, we had family members, we have Department of Health, we had Department of Social Development, we had
youth groups. We had young people with us.
It was so exquisite because people's lights were coming on, and they learned so much from us, and that's what I think has just been so exciting. From that, if we now fast forward by 6 months, we look and we go, okay, so what education and awareness initiatives are taking place? And IBE Africa with Epilepsy South Africa has got a wonderful project that's been put together called the Trendsetter Project. And
I want to interrupt you a moment there, because I think some of the people that's joining us here might not know who IBE Africa is.
You're right. We did it in the last series. So it's like, another abbreviation.
So just for people to know that there's two international global organizations that deal with the issue of epilepsy. The one is the International Bureau for Epilepsy, known as the IBE, and that deals with the non-medical aspects of the condition, the psychosocial aspects. But there's also an organization called the International League Against Epilepsy, or the ILAE, and that's the medical part of what we do. It's neurologists, neurosurgeons, and those kind of medical people that deal with the medical aspect.
So, research and
as Epilepsy South Africa, this is the official chapter in the country of the International Bureau for Epilepsy.
And so proudly so. I mean,
and we work very closely with other countries in Africa. IBE Africa has, I think it's 22 member chapters at this stage, and they're across the whole of the continent. From Mauritius all the way up north to Togo and Cameroon and Kenya and Eswatini, our neighbor. And so it's all over. And these Trendsetter project that you're talking about and the project countries is a really important thing. You know, Africa is often seen as the poor relation of the world community. But in the case of IGAP, Africa is actually taking the lead. Africa is where the pilot projects are happening, where we are finding ways of doing things, often by bumping our noses.
And each country has totally different dynamics. We look at Mauritius, we look at Eswatini, we look at Kenya, we look at South Africa. We just the dynamics and what needs to be addressed is just so diverse.
I think what was very interesting for me dealing with some of the other project countries was that in South Africa, we've gone with a two-pronged approach where we go at national level, but also at local level, provincial level. So it's the two from the top down, but from the bottom up as well. In a country like Kenya, they have a very different political system to South Africa, and they are working from the bottom up in communities and developing it from there. So learning from each other, I think, has been really very helpful. It's been a journey to see how other countries are doing it, but then also sharing with people what we are doing in South Africa. So it's really been an important part of what we've done.
I think one of the achievements, and it'll be made available at the end of this month, is this beautiful booklet that I'm sitting holding in front of me, and this is the IGAP booklet, and it will be published in multiple languages by the end of this month and disseminated not only across South Africa, but across Africa. And I'm sure a number of countries internationally, surely the IBE will share it across international chapters, which I think they're in excess of 200 chapters globally. And this really contains a lot of what we're talking about to say, take this resource, use it, and it really is written for the man in the street, right?
All the women in the street.
All the women in the street that can take this resource and go, well, what is this IGAP? And then we've included things like, what is epilepsy? The do's and don'ts, managing a seizure. And we've spoken a lot about all the other neurological conditions that the IGAP refers to. So I'm really excited about this booklet that's going to be published and shared. I think it's also another really big milestone in the project.
Absolutely, because if we talk about awareness and education, then we need to give people something that they can learn from. Absolutely. And this is exactly what the IGAP booklet is. Yeah. You know, I know when we originally conceptualized it, we thought it would be only about IGAP. And then we realized that giving people only IGAP is a little bit in a vacuum.
Yes.
We needed to contextualize it by explaining what is epilepsy? How do you take care of somebody with epilepsy? Yeah. What do you do if you're shopping and in the shop where you're standing, somebody has a seizure? What do you do in that moment? You know, rather than run away. So it contains a lot of information beyond the IGAP, but also the realities that people face. And I think, you know, a lot of people are familiar with Epi News, a regular publication. And the IGAP is a similar kind of thing. So it's really easy to understand. It's not written in medical language and funny terminology that we don't always know what it means. It really is for everybody to read, easy to understand. And we're encouraging all of you, get hold of a copy of it. You know, go to the organization's website. For those who don't know, it's www.epilepsy.org.za.
Use the website. I cannot emphasize it enough. We are uploading videos. We've got campy videos for children. We've got every one of our webinars with links. We have got resources in terms of documents that can be printed and used in reasonable accommodation, as an example, in the workplace. I mean, Marina, the list is endless. We've been developing these resources for years and years, and now they've been revised and made more relevant for today because these things have evolved.
You know, Sharlene, you refer to the campy videos, and maybe our viewers are not sure what campy is about. Campy is a little seahorse who has epilepsy. And he is the star of a series of videos about, and it's animated, about his experiences, what happens at school and what happens when he goes out with his friends and those kind of things. So when you want to tell a child about a condition, you know, often a parent with epilepsy finds it really hard to explain what it is to a small child. And there's this resource available on the YouTube channel of Epilepsy South Africa. A whole series of these videos. They're short. They're only about 2 to 4 minutes each.
And teachers can use them.
But they are fantastic resources. Yeah. But also on the website, we have activity pages for children where there's games children can play, and, you know, the old connect the dots, drawing pictures and finding your way through a maze. And so there's a lot of resources available, because people often say, but, you know, when do you do training? And it's not only about when we do training, it's also a case of where can I find information? For example, in August, we had a webinar on the IGAP.
Oh, it was such fun.
If you haven't seen it, it's on the YouTube channel. Find it there.
Go and watch it.
And you'll find out more about it. It was really a very interesting one, because over and above the two of us, we also had a neurologist there, Dr. Mochin, and we had a very interesting person with epilepsy, because she not only had epilepsy, but her mother has epilepsy and both her daughters have epilepsy.
I've never met somebody with 3 generations of epilepsy in their family, Marina.
I love the way she spoke about what the IGAP means to her as an individual with epilepsy. So this resource is available out there for us to make use of.
Absolutely.
And I must just say that these series, this webinar would not have been possible without the support of the partners we're working with.
Absolutely.
And particularly Sanofi, who is
Absolutely.
funding a lot of this,
Yeah.
but also the team at Orange Orbit, who's been really good friends to us and
Oh, they've
helped
been
us
amazing
with this.
since, I think,
So,
end of 2021.
Yeah,
It's
these
been a
things
long
are
journey
available.
with them.
Go have a look at them, find out more about it, and have a watch party with your friends. Get the popcorn out and find out more.
Marina, I was going through all the legacy videos and everything that's been done, it's probably for the last 10, 15 years. And one of them I came across was a flash mob in an airport.
It was at a train station.
Was it a train station?
I was there. It was at Cape Town Station.
Oh, my word.
We had permission, and we had a group of people from the community that tried to have a seizure. Well, not really a seizure. They simulated a seizure. But we were literally in the concourse of Cape Town Station, and out of the blue, suddenly people started dropping here and there.
And to see the reactions was...
My personal favorite was one woman that took one look at it, literally threw her hands up and ran out the door. We had to try and chase her down to tell her what was going on. So there's a lot of those kind of things. I'm reminded of the Free State rugby team. For example, did an awareness event together with the branch in the Free State.
Yes, that was just wonderful, remember?
We had the Harley Davidsons there and pamphlets were handed out. So those kind of things. And there's a lot more happening now with IGAP around these kind of events.
It's endless. John T. Rhodes was the ambassador for Epilepsy South Africa, and you just see how that put epilepsy on the roadmap in itself in South Africa, and he did wonderful campaigns with us. So I'd like to just wrap up a little bit, because we're on such a momentum and a wonderful wave now, and just say to everybody, all the resources are being translated into a variety of our South African languages. We can't do all 12, because we've got a 12th now.
Yes. And for those who don't know, that's South African Sign Language.
So we're very, very exciting. Our president signed it recently. So the translations are going to be in isiZulu, it's going to be isiXhosa, it's going to be Sesotho and Afrikaans. Have I left anyone out? I think that's 4. And it might be French as well, right? From one of our...
There's discussions at the moment with our team in IBE Africa, because they'd like to make use of this kind of material. So there's talks about translating it into Swahili, which is spoken on the east coast of Africa, largely in East Africa, but also into Arabic for the North African countries, French for West Africa, and even Portuguese for the countries around us.
Marina, when we talk like this, I think it gets so exciting to realize how Epilepsy South Africa is at the forefront of Africa, and really partnering with IBE Africa. And as a proud chapter, I'm really proud of the work that we're accomplishing. And we're not a large team. I think that's also the misperception. This is a small handful of people driving a project, but dedicated and committed.
Passionate.
So I'm just going to wrap up and just say thank you so much. It's so wonderful working with you. And again, how we lockstep like this and the fun we have, right?
Yeah.
So watch out for our publications, that our IGAP booklet that's coming out. Use our resources that we've got. And join your communities at our branches. Yeah. Our branches have all these wonderful events. Watch out for them. They're all being rolled out. There's National Epilepsy Week in the second week of February 2024. Can you believe it? It's 2024 around the corner. Get involved with the branch in your area. Get involved with the national event, the national Indaba that's being planned, and educate and upskill yourself to make a difference to those you love. So that's all from me. And once again, Marina, thank you for joining me.
Yeah. And I just want to say to everybody out there, if you don't know where your local branch is, you don't know how to get in touch with them, call the toll-free number 0860 Epilepsy, or go visit our website at epilepsy.org.za, where you will be able to connect with the branch closest to you, get involved there, become a member of the organization, and join us on our journey.
Yeah, and Epilepsy South Africa, our tagline is really igniting the flame of potential. So South Africa, get behind us, ignite the flame of potential of all your loved ones with epilepsy, And once again, thank you for joining us. And watch this space. Our branches are going to be sharing videos of real life people having real life experiences on all the topics that we're talking about and educating in the IGAP program, in the plans and implementation of the IGAP. So thank you once again. I'm Sharlene Cassel, National Director from Epilepsy South Africa, and take care.